Just while eating a cheap roasted corn, Richard suddenly got a $1 million idea. His son was beside him, sweating and fanning his mouth after biting into a spicy cob. Yet he still said, "I love this taste." That's when it hit Richard. Their community loved spicy food. He decided right there he would make spicy chips and become a millionaire. Richard bought several packets of plain chips, but his wife was worried. How will we pay rent this month? What about groceries? He could lose everything. But instead of giving up, his wife decided to stand by him one more time. Together, they bought every kind of chili they could find and began experimenting. At first, every sauce they made just burned the tongue, no real flavor. That magical taste from the roasted corn was missing. The company's R&D team was also trying, but Richard believed the real flavor came from roots, from traditional chilies and old-school methods. So they built makeshift rolling drums at home, mixing chili and chips until, finally, they created the perfect spice. But just when success was near, bad news struck. The factory began layoffs. No one wanted to hear Richard's idea. A supervisor laughed. "You're just a janitor. Stop dreaming." Yet Richard refused to quit. With trembling hands, he dialed the company's CEO, who was in Italy at the time. Introducing himself as a cleaning technician, he somehow got through. He and his wife made a sample and mailed it to the CEO. Days later, the CEO himself showed up at the factory. Everyone panicked. When they learned Richard had contacted him directly, he was scolded in front of everyone. If the CEO didn't like the idea, the factory could shut down. Everyone's job was at risk. Richard's confidence began to crumble. At home, he told his wife everything. She stood him in front of the mirror and said softly, "I've stayed with you all these years because I believe in your talent. Don't ever think you're less than anyone." Then she trained him, taught him business basics, helped him write his speech and how to present himself before the CEO. But when the moment came, Richard chose to speak from the heart. When asked about market share, he didn't know the numbers. He just explained it his own way. The CEO was impressed by his honesty, passion, and wisdom. He immediately decided to invest. Production of Flamin hot chips began, but at first, no one bought them. Packets gathered dust on shelves. Richard felt crushed. Then his son said, "People don't even know what this is. Let's promote it ourselves." So Richard called up his old friends, the same guys who once sold shampoo to bald men. Together, they handed out chips on streets, in schools, in shops. They even pretended to be customers to draw crowds. Soon, the demand exploded. The CEO called Richard and said, "Now our target is 5 million boxes." The factory went into full speed. In just 6 months, they broke every record. One of his old mentors asked, "So what are you now?" Richard smiled. "I'm still a janitor. I just wanted to fix the machines." But when he entered the office that day to mop the floor, the CEO was waiting. He said, "I came from an ordinary family too. If I had limited my dreams, I wouldn't be here today. Dreamers are important, but supporting them is even more important." Then, right there, he made Richard the marketing director of the company. The whole factory burst into applause. Richard's hands shook as he dialed the first number that came to mind, his wife's.